The objective of this recording is to try and install a running operating system onto the LCD PC LP2600, which I found at Friedhof at the swap shop, and it's a machine dating back to 2000. The software that I found, it was used in an accounting department. It had Windows NT and it was used in a network. The machine is contained within the screen. The hard disk is in the bottom, in the foot, and this is the view from the left side. So it has got a floppy drive. On the right hand side it has got a CD drive, not a DVD but CD drive with PCMCI slot. This is the back side, and here we see the connectors that exist on the machine. I tried to run Knoppix of it, which worked fine, but I couldn't get on the internet, and it didn't work properly because the USB port wouldn't allow to put a Wi-Fi antenna in it. But hooking it up to with a LAN cable to my existing network, I managed to get onto the internet and to run things, but they were sort of flaky. So I went a bit around and I did some research. Since the machine that I'm using this on to test is or the machine that I eventually want to run it on, that I showed you before, is a dated machine, I researched a bit and I went through Puppy Linux and I went through Bionic and so on, Slacks, and I eventually came up with the LXLE Linux in a 32-bit version, and this is their latest. It's based on Lubuntu 18.04, and in order to set up the test requirement, I used the following setup. Here we see the hardware that I used. In the first place, on the top left, you see the USB, which contained the live image of the Linux, which then I put on the Sunbow 32 gig SSD, which you see on the left. Now I built that SSD into two different machines. One is a blue Sony Vaio, and I managed to clone it and transfer it onto the SSD, which is also a 32 gig SSD, and I transferred it via CloneZilla, that we see the CD. I managed to transfer it to the KingSpec SSD, and it runs both off the Sunbow and off the KingSpec SSD on an HP and on an HP 6710B and on the blue Sony Vaio. Now, since the old machine that we saw at the beginning cannot boot off a USB, but it can well boot off a CD, I plan to use the CloneZilla live CD that we see in the picture here, and to boot the machine that we saw here. To boot the machine, I've put it away now. To boot the machine up with the with the CD, and then with the help of the USB that we see here, that contains the cloned image, and there I did an advanced cloning, not just one-to-one, but since the partitions on the hard disk are likely to vary, or the capacity of the hard disk is different from SSD to SSD, to the physical, I think 60 gig hard disk that's built into the old machine. So I plan to boot that old machine with the CloneZilla live CD, and then insert the gray USB that we see up here that contains the working cloned image from those previous 2 SSDs, and then see if I can install Linux LXLE on the old machine, and if it manages to boot, to get on the internet, and to see if the network works properly. That's the end of the recording.